I guess we're live now. Anyway, I'm trying to figure out how to do the banner part. I got it here. There it is. All right, if you want to come and join the StreamYard, there it is. So we've got it put onto the screen. But anyway, thought of the day. What's your thoughts about the bombings in Iran? You know, I was sent a text message earlier today, and I've just been sitting around kind of debating whether or not I wanted to even get into this topic because I know there's a lot of opinions. I knew that we were going to do this. And I knew that it was going to happen by just listening to what was being said during the press conferences. And I knew that it wasn't going to be something that was going to be announced and then we were going to do it. We were just going to do it. And some things that happen to the wars and things that go on is, hey, Andrew, hey, I thought we don't have to go into the encounters with them. Well, you know what? Why don't you come up? Welcome to join. The link's right there, so just come on up and I can add you to the comment or add you to the conversation. So anyway, I knew that we were going to do it because the conversations to try to get this is to be a peaceful, disarming, and just the whole thing to do with it. Trump had done what he could do, and it just wasn't going anywhere. So guess what happened? You have to make a stand. You have to draw a line. And I believe that Trump, did kind of warn them that this is possibly what was going to happen. He did let the American public know that Iran did have these nuclear weapons that they were ready to produce and put out there and to cause devastation. And he also knew that the Iranians didn't have enough forethought to think of what nuclear weapons can do. Yes, we have them. Yes, we know what they can do, and we've seen the effects. Should we have used them in the past? Stopped a war, but it also created a lot of havoc afterwards. So anyway, come on and bring up your thoughts. I'm not the only one here thinking about this. Like Andrew says, I hope that we don't have to go into the encounters with them. And, Trump's whole background is about saving lives. If you've seen some of the videos on the devastation over there, it's not just taking out military bases. It's not just taking out the ammo depots. It's not just about that. They're destroying people's homes. Just think if something come into your home that was unexpected, you had no control over and no longer there. I was driving down the road the other day and I thought, hey, I'm going to take a little bit of a different route just because I'm tired of taking the old one. This one here is going to be about the same, but just a little different. I got stopped by some fire trucks. A family home had caught fire. Just think of that. This is something simple that happens every day in our country, that we just have fires and it takes out a home. Now, whether or not that home could be repaired or not, I don't know. Looked pretty bad. And there were two children, a young girl and her brother. and the daughter was the youngest of the two. The boy was taking a shower, getting cleaned up, ready for the day. And he comes out and they've got a fire in the house. He gets his sister out of the house and called 911. What happened? I don't know. I didn't get into it that deep. But what I do know is there's a little hero there. They got his sister out of the house. So when you start looking at that, you go, what if this would have been a bomb? What if this would have been something that somebody else did to that home? Those two children wouldn't be here today. That's what's going on over there. You see, apartment buildings completely destroyed. We had that in the Twin Towers when they were hit and they were just completely destroyed. They collapsed to nothing. Well, what you're seeing over there, a little bit different. Hey, Brandon Mitchell, you going to come up and talk about this with me? But yeah, this is what we're dealing with in this country. And this is what we're dealing with and what we're seeing from over there. So it's kind of crazy. What do we do? Okay. Just going to be out there loping out somewhere, I guess. But anyway, I just kind of sat around today. It's been kind of a lazy day. Yes, they are. Road tripping. Where are you going, Brandon? Are you out doing some cop watching? Brandon Mitchell come up on here. Obviously, my notification worked. Oh, undisclosed. Okay. Those are always fun. Look forward to seeing the video. But I was just thinking about all this. I may not have seen it yet because I was watching a bunch of Facebook shorts earlier, and I play YouTube, and I was sleeping. I got up early, got out, got a project done for the club that I belong to, and got back home. I don't know, sometime around 11 o'clock. Fixed a couple of sandwiches, and then I fell asleep till 6:30. So I've only been up about 5 hours, but got a project done. It got up to I think the 90s today, so we got out early, got it done. So that's where we're at. So Brandon Mitchell put out a video today. So if you guys want to go watch Brandon Mitchell's video, there's his little push for that. But I know our country gets involved with a lot of other countries, even though we're sitting over here all by ourselves pretty much. If you look at the European countries, look at the map over there. There's a country within a country within a country within a country within a country. And if you go back to the biblical days, you'll understand why. All these different territories were broken up and they were given to and settled by and all these kind of things when Christ gave out those properties and sent out the different apostles to be spread the message and to settle in the different lands. So we're talking about religious wars. Religious wars will never be won. There just never will be. In the Bible, we have all sorts of wars going on. It's like having two people with two different opinions. You either agree to disagree and you go along with life, or you sit there and fight about it and try to prove your point and force your point into being what everybody is, everybody's force your opinion on what everybody else is supposed to believe. In other words, you keep telling a lie and telling a lie until, everybody just submits to it. It's happening in our country, and it's kind of funny that even our judicial system has said it's okay for the powers to be that we hire to lie to us, to charge us with the things that they do. I was watching a video today, and I've seen it before, and about a lady who, when it's all said and done, she was wrong. But when you look at it from the front part, it wasn't. She wasn't wrong. The officer created something off of a hunch, and ended up destroying a day. The police chief of that department backed the officer. And then they took information they collected afterwards to justify the whole reaction. I believe that the United States doesn't do that. We go through and we sit down and we talk about different things before we actually make a reaction. We actually know what's going to happen when we go do something like what has been done over in Iran. Iran has been able to run and do whatever they want to do. They went through 4 years of being able to do whatever they wanted to do under the Biden administration. And then now we have the Trump administration. And the Trump administration says, hey, we want to talk to you. We want to see what we can do to make a workable decision here to stop all this killing. Well, guess what? The conversations have been going nowhere. And so when you have a conversation, you actually have to say, hey, this is what's going to happen unless you want to be a part of this conversation. And that's exactly what happened. This is a very important thing. This is not a little thing. It's not like, mom and dad's had an argument about that extra $10 is being spent that we don't have. This is lives. What's a life worth? What is a life worth? We can go through and think about that. When we lose a loved one, we're devastated. And if they're older, we understand that it's a part of life. But when it's that little one, when it's one of your children, we don't understand so much. And it's a real devastation. When it is somebody else who has done the thing that has created you to lose that loved one or that child, and you don't have any part of it, and your child doesn't have any part of it, or your loved one doesn't have any part of it. When does this need to stop? And how do you need to stop it? That it doesn't happen to that next family and the next family and the next family and the next family. Sometimes harsh reactions have to be taken. Harsh actions, period. And do we allow for those who are out of control to get out of control more? I was talking to a police officer, and in that conversation, he was telling me that they have to come up with better weapons because of the weapons that are being created out here. Well, I understand what they said, but where does it stop? When you have a small group who is doing this, you take out the small group and you don't do it and say, we have to do bigger against the bigger group. We have to have that tank. We have to have that MROD. We have to have that automatic weapon. We have to have all these things so we can protect your rights and freedoms, because you're not doing it anymore. You're militarizing yourself as a police force. You're creating things that create other problems. If we have one household who has been raided illegally, then that's one household too much. If we have one group who thinks that they can just drive down the road in everyday clothing in an everyday vehicle and become a part of the jump out squad, that's one group too much. If you haven't got time to put on a uniform, you haven't got time to put on the safety vest, and you haven't got time to announce who you are, then you shouldn't be doing it at all in the United States. You know, everybody's saying how ICE is doing this and ICE is doing that and ICE is doing that. Part of it's propaganda because they don't really know what's going on and they've put it out there. On the other hand, we know that there are the small groups out there who have done those illegal things that has created ICE to do what they do. But you can't say that an organization knows that a group is going to be there and knew they were there and who did anything else. Hey, hear my train? My most noisiest neighbor? How you like my beard? I'm trying to figure out whether or not I want to trim it down or not. It's kind of squared it off a little bit. I can make it do some funky things. But anyway, trying to look in the picture here and everything's backwards. So, but anyway, I was hoping I'd get some folks to come up and we could talk about this for a little bit. It's nice to know that there were the notification went out there and I did get a little bit, a couple people come up. Andrew Longs Lewis came up and Brandon Mitchell came up. I know I don't have a whole lot of followers because I don't put out that much. But when I do, it's because I have sat back and thought about it. I've sat back and said, hey, what am I going to do here? how am I going to wake people up to say, you know what? I understand what happened. Do I agree with it? No, I don't agree with it because it shouldn't have happened in the first place. When has mankind gotten to the point that they can't have a conversation to solve an indifference? Why is it the government itself has to have such a military to push its point? Becomes political. Why is it that just getting things done, understanding that we may not agree? Yeah, you have a border, I have a border. This country has a border, this other country has a border. What makes you think that you need to go as a government and get more property? To destroy property to gain more land mass. What makes you think that's okay? Why is it okay? What are you trying to prove? That you're bigger than they are? That you're the bigger bully? You're the bigger bully in a classroom? The bigger bull in a china shop? That it's okay for you to come through and destroy the things that you want to acquire? It's crazy. Why is it that important to be able to gain something by destroying it? You know, throughout my life, I'm 65 years old now, getting ready to turn 66. And all through Boy Scouts, I learned that when you had something that you went to or did anything, that you always left it better than when you got there. And you never destroyed anything to get there. When my wife and I got this property, we talked about what we wanted to do to improve it to where we could enjoy it more. And yeah, it's been a long haul. And yes, I still have things to do. But when it all comes down to it, hopefully I leave it better than what it was before I got here. Things have changed in my life. And it's just me now to make all of those moves that we were working on. I have friends who help. They do what they do, and then, they got their lives to live. It's not going to enhance their life to help me, and I don't have money to pay them. But what I do have is an ambition to make it better than what it was before I got here, an ambition to turn it into something, an ambition to take care of it. Last year, my yard got mowed twice. This year, I can't tell you how many because I quit counting. It looks better, but there's still a lot to do. I'm not the gardener that gets out here and pulls all the weeds in the flower beds around the house, so I've got some weeds growing up. Weather hasn't been advantageous for me to do a couple other things I wanted to do. Today it was too windy to spray to kill the weeds in the driveway and in the garden. So guess what? Tomorrow's going to probably be that day. It's supposed to be nicer, not as windy. Still hot. So guess what old Dano's got to do? I've got to get up early so I can maintain the property. Get out there before it gets too hot. And then I might be able to go enjoy my day for a little bit. But that's what I'm dealing with. So when you're dealing with things, you try to make them better. And if the politicians of these different countries, the leaders of these different countries, would quit thinking that they're God, that they are the almighty landlord, and everybody else is a peasant is supposed to do what I tell you to, then just get along. That's the old thing back in the day. And I can't remember what his name was, but he was a black gentleman. And he says, why can't we just all get along? Just get along. You know, if everybody out there had the same mindset that, hey, I'm going to make it better than what it was before I got here. What could you do with our homeless who have these camps going on that they're don't have anywhere to put their trash? What can you do to help make that camp better? Oh, you can bring in a bulldozer and you can take everybody's property and you can scoop it all up and put it in a dumpster. Or you can take a dumpster and say, hey, folks, I understand you're living here and I understand you're having some hard times, but this place looks like crap and going to bring you something that you can throw everything in that you don't want and all your trash and clean it up, and we'll leave you alone. And we're going to do this every week or so until it's all cleaned up. What's the expense? You bring in a bulldozer, got to pay that guy. You got to pay for the dumpsters to haul everybody's stuff away. And what did it cost? It cost every individual who's trying to get back up on their feet everything they had, and they got to start out at zero again. Every leader of every country is responsible for their citizens. If you look at your citizens and say, hey, we need to do better. Yeah, leaders of the countries, the politicians, those who've been voted in or conquered their countries, who tell every individual out there what to do and how to do it. And if not, we're going to eliminate your life. Why don't you look at them and say, hey, it's not what I say, it's what you do. Prove who you are, individuals. Prove that you're out there to take care of what you can do. You're going to have hard times. There'll be some people out there to help you, and there'll be some that won't. There's to be some people who will care and some people who don't. But you have to remember a couple of things. It's not the hard times that you have, it's what's come out of those hard times. I'm blessed. And I don't say it enough. I'm 65 years old and I'm still physically able to work. Can I do what I used to do? No. From the illness that I had in 2021, there's a lot of stuff I can't do. But there's a lot of stuff I can do. I just have to figure out how to get it done. You know, there's nobody watching this video right now. And nobody willing to come up and talk. And that's okay. There's a lot of folks who have opinions on what happened, but aren't willing to have a conversation about it and say, hey, we're going to have our disagreements and we're going to have our agreements. Like I said, we can agree to disagree. We can start pointing fingers. We all know that Donald Trump, our president, made the decision finally to do something. What could we have done? We could have sat back and done nothing. Or we could have done what we've done. I'm looking at different things on here while I'm doing this because I haven't done it before. Oh, there's that silly countdown. I'll tell you, anybody who does that, that drives me nuts. Look at that. You can do some changes that way. It's got background music, all that fun stuff. I've done StreamYard for a while, so I didn't know what all that stuff was. But anyway, I'm learning as I go along. Do I have a lot of time to do this kind of stuff? No, I do a lot of other things. The club I belong to, I post things for them on Facebook, several different groups. I try to promote the club. And if some of you don't know and haven't been on before, I got into RC airplanes. And we have a flying field here just down the road from me. And that's our club site. And it's one of the best maintained RC airfields around. I mean, we've got people coming in from everywhere and say that their fields are not as nice as ours. And it's taken years. I've only been involved in the club not even a year yet. And I've taken on a responsibility of maintaining the property, making sure that we get the people in there to help get it done. But the whole thing is somebody's got to do it. And me being a newbie, there's a lot of stuff I haven't done, but a lot of the older guys, there's a lot of stuff they have done and they're tired. They want to just be able to sit back and enjoy. We got to get some new guys in. So hopefully by promoting it, we will get new people in that will be able to help. Buddy of mine that kind of helped get me into it a little bit, called him up and said, hey, we're doing this project. Can you help? I'll be there. And it wasn't a big project. We had some patio stones to go into our clubhouse that had sunk and done their little moving them around. And when it rained, we had a big puddle. Well, it rained last week or this week, on in the middle of the week where we had an event. And to walk into our clubhouse, you had a puddle to walk through. So hopefully we've got it taken care of. Anyway, they're up a little higher and they're straightened out. Took 3 of us to do it. Took a couple hours, and it's done. But if every time we do a project, we do one more thing, and one more thing, and one more thing, then projects will get done. I've got a list that I created as soon as I took the position. And I talk to people about what they'd like to see done. And that's the whole thing. As a leader of countries, of government, whether it be local, county, state, federal, as a leader, each position has a leader position. And how good that department does, or that level of government does, depends on its leadership. Some of you know I'm here in Indiana. And our leadership right now, I'm going to tell you right now, I'm going to say it out loud, sucks. You're going to ask why. Our governor of our state just had a event that he showed up at. And I said that kind of out loud because he doesn't show up to a lot of events. But here he is, and we got people coming in from the community who would like to have some questions answered about things going on. The first thing they did? We're not answering questions. Okay, then what are you doing here? And I listened to what all was said. Yes, a couple questions did get answered, but it was nothing but a campaign speech about what all. And it really kind of upset me to sit there and listen to it. If you're part of the government, you're part of the leadership that we have hired to put into that position, you have a duty to answer questions. You have a duty to be responsible for your actions and how it involves your citizens. And if your citizens are upset, then guess what? There's a problem. So let's take that and say, hey, this man had a business and he brags that he did this and he did that and he did this and he did that, all for his employees. Well, he just signed a bill that did it to all of his constituents. Senate Bill 1. That's here in Indiana. Our veterans got screwed, our elderly got screwed, and everybody in the future got screwed. All over real estate taxes. Like I said, it's all about leadership. We have so many bureaucratic organizations within our United States government that make rules that become laws. In other words, to make suggestions. We pay them for them to control our lives. How many citizens have time enough to go and present a law to our House of Representatives, to our Senate, and follow that law through? We don't. As I used to say as an over-the-road truck driver, all of us truck drivers sitting at a counter talking about the different issues all across the country and talking about how we could fix those. And we walk away and nothing's done. Why? because we got to go back to work. When we had the counters at the different truck stops, I always used to say, if you wanted to know what was going on in our country, go to a counter at a truck stop and talk to the truck drivers. And why did I say that? Because we had truck drivers from all over the country that were dealing with different things in their personal life. And you could have that conversation. And when it was all said and done, we all got up. We told each other to be safe. And we went out and did the job that was our duty to do for our country. Yeah, it's not just our military who takes care of our country. It's our farmers. It's our truck drivers that get those commodities from one spot to another spot. Crazy stuff, right? I was having a conversation with a police officer. And as part of the 1A community, we've always said that the only sovereign citizen in this country is a government agent. And I was talking to this police officer and I said, you know what? You're the sovereign citizen in this country. I looked at me and said, no, we're not. You know, the sovereign citizen believes they can get away with anything. I said, okay. That they don't have to go by the laws. I said, no, they go by the Constitution, is what you're calling a sovereign citizen. I'm going to call you a sovereign citizen. And he looked at me real funny. I said, you can shoot somebody and walk away and you'll go to jail. You can steal from somebody and walk away and not go to jail. You can encage somebody, kidnap them, walk away and not go to jail. And you don't pay taxes. That gets them every time. And it's a funny thing because they don't realize they don't pay taxes. What did they do? Well, I'm going to educate you a little bit. Every year they give back part of their income that was paid to them through taxes back into that general fund. So they just took a pay cut every year. So every year the taxes go up or whatever that they go and file and that they pay, that they've had taken out of their checks, is a pay cut. Yeah. Now, to me, I don't work for the government. I'm out here into the everyday world. I don't have a choice to whether or not I pay taxes. I don't have a choice to say, no, I'm not happy with what you're doing with my money. So I'm not going to give it to you anymore. I don't have a choice that I don't have kids in school anymore. So I don't need to pay into that fund. I don't have a choice that I have to deal with the way you've decided that the traffic pattern should go on our interstates and highways. You notice I didn't say our streets and our roads, I said interstates and highways. Because as a commercial driver hauling commodities, I believe OSHA hasn't done their job to protect the truck driver. We have a bureaucratic organization called the DOT who has determined this is the way it's supposed to be. Think about it, folks. Your tax money has been proved to have been put out and given away to organizations that us as a country do not agree with. It has been fished around and moved around and played the shell game so much that we have politicians that are now millionaires. At a job that there is no way they would have ever become a millionaire unless it was stolen from the public. Every one of those millionaires that walked into politics with nothing and walked out as a millionaire stole from you, the public. Doesn't look like anybody's coming up. I've been on for 46 minutes, a little more. But I want you to think about it. When you come up and watch this video, put in some comments, subscribe, like, and share. Give me some encouragement to get up and put out more videos. I've been putting in 11-hour days, so it's not like I can do it all the time. I haven't been able to dedicate myself to the things that I wanted to do with YouTube and the channels that I have. Because I have to go to work. Guess what? Same thing I said before. We can solve the problems, but we have to go to work. So I want to say peace out there. God bless. Be safe. And do like, share, and comment. Because I want to be watching. I want to watch for your comments. I want to see what you think. What you think of what's going on in our country. I don't care. It's not about the person in the office. It's what our country's doing, period. So if you don't like Trump, you don't like Trump. I don't care. You don't like Biden, you don't like Biden. I don't care. Because it's not the person that I particularly don't like. It's the job they're doing. Are there some things that I don't agree with? Absolutely. And it starts from the bottom up. If everybody's watching what Trump's doing, what are you watching going on in your neighborhood? What are you watching going on within your cities and towns? What are you watching going on in your county? Man, there is so much going on that you're missing if all you're doing is watching Trump. What's going on locally in your local surroundings involves you more than this bombing in Iran. Trump did it before. He took out one of the most scariest people in the world. And now he's done it again. He took out what could have been the most potential, deadliest group of people, weapons in the world. We know that a nuclear bomb has so much devastation to it that millions and millions and millions of lives and countries could be destroyed in the wrong hands. So think about it. Again, God bless. Have a great day. That's Danny's thoughts. What were you thinking? Because I was. Have a great day.